Let's jump right into this explainer, because today we're uncovering a massive, literally universe-sized secret about who you really are. We're looking at a classic devotional text called The Noble Calling of Divine Heirship, and it outlines something absolutely incredible. It basically says that underneath it all, you have a deeply royal identity.
Now, before we get to the royal part, let me ask you something. Have you ever gotten super mad over something just totally tiny? Imagine you're playing your favorite video game. You're about to win and you lose at the very last second. Or, your sibling comes into your room and starts messing with your stuff without asking. You get that hot, bubbling feeling in your chest, right? Well, getting mad is totally normal. But this text reveals a real game changer for handling those moments. And it all starts with understanding who you actually are.
Section 1. The Royal Secret. Divine Heirship.
Section 2. What is an heir? Joint heirs with Christ. Let's break down exactly what it means to be part of this incredible royal family the text talks about. The source refers to its readers as children of God and joint heirs with Christ. But what does that actually mean? Well, an heir is simply someone next in line to receive something amazing. Think of a prince or a princess who's going to inherit a vast, beautiful kingdom, the treasure, the titles, the whole shebang. That's an heir.
This brings us to a really foundational verse from the text, Romans chapter 8, verse 17. It reads, "And if children, then heirs, heirs of God and joint heirs with Christ." Guys, this means you are essentially secret royalty. Being a joint heir means you get to share a massive kingdom with the ultimate big brother, Jesus. You're quite literally a child of the King of the universe. How cool is that?
But what's really interesting here is how the text describes this royalty. It's not about walking around with your nose in the air, right? The text says that God's grace actually changes you. It softens the heart and refines and purifies the feelings. It gives you what the author calls a heaven-born delicacy, which is really just a fancy way of saying true royalty is incredibly kind, thoughtful, and gentle. A true Christian is never self-exalted. They're never stuck up or bragging about themselves.
Section 3. The ultimate role model. Embodiment of perfection.
So, if we're royalty, who's our role model? The text introduces Jesus not just as some historical figure, but as the perfect royal example we're meant to copy. And look at this amazing contrast. It describes Jesus as meek and lowly, so gentle and humble, but at the exact same time having the powerful spirit and ambition of a conqueror ruling vast dominions. He's gentle, sure, but he's also the ultimate, powerful winner. The author points out that he is the embodiment of perfection, the great center of everything. And if we keep our eyes fixed on him, the text says he'll lead all of us to unity and harmony. Imagine a giant orchestra, right? Every single instrument playing perfectly together. That is the exact kind of harmony this royal role model brings. And here's how he wants us to act. The text says, "He who loves the Lord will eagerly embrace every opportunity to minister in the person of his disciples." Now, that word minister, it just means to serve and help. Acting like true royalty doesn't mean demanding people bring you snacks or clean up your messes. Actually, it's the exact opposite. You eagerly look for ways to help and serve others, just like Jesus did.
Section 4. Ditching defects. Spasmodic actions.
Now, we kind of have to talk about the stuff in our lives that doesn't look very royal at all. The author uses this really specific, kind of funny phrase for when we act badly. They call them little cheap spasmodic actions. Spasmodic basically means jerky and unpredictable. Think of it like a really annoying glitch in a perfectly coded video game. When your character starts freezing, jerking around, doing things you definitely didn't press the buttons for. Well, that's exactly what a cheap spasmodic action is in real life. Let's look at the specific glitches the text lists. It happens when we're revealing feelings to be our master. So letting your anger or sadness boss you around instead of you being in charge. The text calls these glitches indulging in little frettings, like worrying and complaining over nothing, envious fault findings, picking on others because you secretly wish you had what they have, jealousies, and selfish vanity. These are for sure non-royal actions.
So we have a pretty stark choice here. On one side, the harmonious life of Jesus, full of sharing, patience, peace. On the other side, those cheap behaviors, fretting, jealousy, finding fault. Taking offense and acting glitchy puts us totally out of harmony with him. It's kind of like taking your beautiful, clean royal robes and just purposely rolling around in the mud. It completely ruins the game.
Section 5. Your noble calling. Labors with Jesus. So how do we actually fix these glitches and, stop the mud rolling? The text gives us a straight answer. It says we need to look at our lives as sons and daughters of God who are living for a noble purpose. You're a representative of Jesus Christ. Your job is to show the world what he's like by living a pure, perfect life. You're literally wearing the royal badge.
And the author gives us an exact 3-step action plan for those really tough moments when people say mean, cutting words to you, what the text calls words that bruise the soul. Here's what you do. Step 1. Pause. Just don't react right away. Step 2. Speak directly to yourself inside your head. Step 3. Remember your royal identity.
So what exactly are you supposed to say to yourself in step 2? The text gives us this absolutely powerful secret mantra. I am a child of God, an heir with Jesus Christ, a collaborator with God. I must not therefore have a cheap mind, easily to take offense. That is the key right there. A prince or princess doesn't have a cheap mind that gets easily offended over a tiny insult or losing a game.
The text warns that if you're always thinking of myself, taking offense, and holding on to grudges, it naturally produces an inharmonious character. It literally makes you glitchy and out of tune. And the author says that kind of behavior is simply unworthy of my noble calling. It's beneath you, because you are royal.
Which brings us to our final, provocative thought directly from the source. The text concludes by saying, "The Heavenly Father has given me my work to do, let me be worthy of the trust." You have a royal task today, to be kind, to not glitch out when you get mad, and to represent the ultimate king. So what do you say? Will you be worthy of that trust today?